Over the past few weeks, we have come across some perplexing rumors regarding the significant design modification expected of the iPhone 17 Pro arriving this year. Apple allegedly will make use of glass and aluminum for the rear of the phone's casing. The top side of the phone would be metallic. Aluminum provides superior camera portion protection. The bottom side would be made of glass, so MagSafe charging can continue working. Though Apple can still retain the iPhone's titanium frame regardless of the materials it uses for the rear panel on the iPhone 17, others saw those speculations as suggesting Apple might abandon the titanium frame. At the time, we had no photo leaks, but this changes today. You're going to need a minute. First glance at the allegedly iPhone 17 revamp comes from China. You might not find what you are looking at appealing. Leaker Jukano Shreve got up again and shared an image from Weibo. Yes, it seems extremely odd. Yes, it seems like Apple is about to replicate Google's well-known Pixel design. And certainly, it doesn't look good. But that's only because we're stuck mentally on the iPhone rear design Apple has utilized since the iPhone 11. Keep also in mind how much some people despise the rear-facing iPhone Pro camera. The iPhone 16 is the best illustration of the camera bulge, which has been becoming ever bigger. Even the non-Pro variants include a large dual camera module on the back. I've always said the iPhone's camera bump does not matter, and I'll stand by it if the design above is accurate. Actually, a horizontal camera bump makes more sense for the iPhone. At least it won't wobble as much when placed on a table. Back to the image, how do we know it's an iPhone component? Well, presuming it's a real shot, it's got all the necessary markings. The kitouts for the action button, volume buttons, power button, camera control, and USB-C connector are all there. As for the materials Apple might utilize for the frame, we have three alternatives here. The frame above is either 100% titanium, 100% aluminum, or a combination of both. If it's the latter, the frame sides would be titanium, while the metal on the back is aluminum. Also, if it's a mix of metals, I sure hope Apple knows what it's doing here. Then again, there hasn't been a problem with the titanium-aluminum mix in the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro models so far. While I don't dislike the pixel-like camera bar on the iPhone 17, I've never been a fan of blending two materials for a phone's rear case. I repeated that time and again for the early Pixel generations. At the time, Google used glass on the top and metal on the bottom, but maybe has found a method to make the shift from metal to glass more seamless. If the design is true, I'd anticipate Apple to employ comparable camera bars across the whole iPhone 17 family, not just the Pros. This would give the iPhone 17 series a visual identity. Remember that rumors claim the iPhone 17 will have a centrally placed single-lens camera. It would make sense for all iPhone 17 variants to include a same camera design on the back. I'd also expect additional reasons to determine the design adjustment. Maybe Apple needs to redistribute the internal space to cater for certain logic board components and larger batteries. Perhaps some of the cameras are getting larger, so a corner placement is out of the question. Then, there's spatial photography to consider. Maybe Apple wants spatial photos and videos recorded in portrait mode, which is how most of us take pictures anyway. There is one drawback with such a design, one that Weibo users commenting to the initial post noticed. All iPhones contain Face ID cameras on the front, which consume much of space. Can Apple install the camera bump this high up on the back without hurting Face ID? I'm especially thinking of the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max versions, which will sport 3 lenses on the back. If the design leak is genuine, we'll see it leak more and more in the following months. In a separate post on X, Jukano Shreve stated the design change might be true. Supposedly, many Android makers will adopt a similar horizontal camera arrangement next year. The tidbit comes from a reliable Weibo leaker, Digital Chat Station, who pointed to the iPhone 17 Air gaining this supposed camera bar as seen. If that happens, Google should be acknowledged with a significant triumph here as a pioneer of camera bar designs for its Pixels. Interestingly, next year's Pixel phones might lose the camera bar design, while the cameras should still be positioned horizontally. However, Ming-Chi Kuo indicates that the processor on the iPhone 17 Air could be the A19 chip. Kuo further believes that only the iPhone 17 Pro Max might be upgraded to 12 GB RAM, while the other 3 phones could continue to 8 GB RAM. Back in January 2023, Mark Gurman indicated that Apple expected to migrate away from using Broadcom's wireless components in 2025. For this, the company was working on its own Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip, but later claimed at the time that research had been discontinued, and that this was only a Wi-Fi chip and not a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip. Jeff Pugh claimed in December 2023 that the iPhone 17 Pro versions will arrive with an Apple-designed Wi-Fi 7 chip. It's crucial to note that the iPhone 16 Pro series has already switched to Wi-Fi 7, albeit it's not clear if this is an Apple-designed chip. Pugh also claims that only the Pro Max may have a titanium body. It could also have a narrowed dynamic island made possible by a new MetaLens technology for the proximity sensor, which will let the firm substantially reduce the size of the Face ID sensor. The other three phones may feature an aluminum design that is more complex, but will feature the same dynamic island. A story from The Information disagrees, however, claiming that both the Pro and Pro Max may embrace metal. The frame for these high-end iPhones is also supposed to be lighter and more eco-friendly. Additionally, Apple may replace the squircle-shaped 3D glass rear camera bump with a larger rectangle composed of aluminum. Meanwhile, the back of the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max is expected to stay glass for the sake of wireless charging. Display supply chain researcher Ross Young corroborates that the iPhone 17 range could replace the Plus model with a new model that will provide a slim design. It will also feature a smaller display than the current Plus model, 6.7-inch, which aligns up with the 6.6-inch display report for the iPhone 17 Air from Pugh. However, Young also adds that the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max would sport an under-panel Face ID paired with a hole, while the iPhone 17 basic models will convert to an LTPO 120Hz display. Mark Gurman's sources also believe that Apple is focusing on a significantly thinner phone for 2025. This apparently will be part of a bigger push to trim down the MacBook Pro and the Apple Watch. Apple presumably plans to make these gadgets the thinnest and lightest in their categories throughout the industry. Gurman also claims that the idea is to develop an iPhone 17 Air. However, Co's more recent July 2024 states that Apple will not employ resin-coated copper material for the iPhone motherboard for the iPhone 17, since it couldn't match the company's high-quality specifications. This transition to RCC could have cut down on interior space requirements, allowing for possibly smaller designs or even larger batteries. Although we've been hearing speculations regarding the iPhone 17 series for quite some time now, while we've heard of a potential of an iPhone 17 Air, a 19 Pro SoC, and 12 GB RAM, we now get to know that the iPhone 17 Pro series will employ a new display technology that should give better battery savings and improved performance. Again, Jukano's Reeve on X reports that the iPhone 17 Pro series will feature a low dielectric T technology for their displays. T refers to Teflon, ethylene, and epoxy. According to the leaker, low dielectric T helps improve battery efficiency, maximizes display durability, and enhances overall performance compared to existing display technologies. If accurate, the switch from an LTPO backplane to low dielectric T, paired with the reported efficiency gains with the A19 Pro processor, should help with better battery life in the iPhone 17 Pro versions. It is not yet apparent if the shift to low dielectric T would make any change to the viewing experience. LTPO is what enables ProMotion in the iPhone 13 Pro and upwards. This technology is also expected to find its way to the normal iPhone 17 phones next year, which are eventually expected to have 120Hz panels. Supply chain also expects Apple to introduce LTPO 3, which initially debuted in the Apple Watch Series 10, in the next iPhone, possibly the iPhone 18. Ming-Chi Kuo claimed in January 2024 that the iPhone 17's front camera will be increased to a 24 megapixels lens, compared to the 12 megapixels lens of the iPhone 16 series. Jeff Pugh validated the news, adding that all four iPhone 17 models will feature a 24 megapixels front camera. Moving to the back, Ko believes that Apple wants to enhance the resolution of the tetraprism periscope zoom camera from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels, but only on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. This should considerably boost the outputted image quality, even while utilizing the limited digital zoom. It would also mark it as the first time that the Pro Max has all 48 megapixels rear cameras, and even a boosted up 24 megapixels front camera, making it the most advanced camera hardware on an iPhone by a fair margin. A report from The Information indicates that Apple could add a mechanically controlled variable aperture mechanism into one of the iPhone 17 variants. It's not obvious which model this would be on. It is also unknown if Apple would provide a simple toggle between two or more pressed apertures or opt for a more complex, stepless aperture adjustment comparable to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. If you were expecting it would be the thin edition that has these camera upgrades, you'd be disappointed. Co mentions that the iPhone 17 Air will arrive with a single wide camera on the rear. Apple has done an outstanding job keeping the starting pricing of the iPhone series consistent at $829. Apple offers a starting price of $799, although that is after a $30 activation discount on select carriers. Apple has absorbed the higher cost of production for several years now, so we wouldn't be surprised if the corporation opted to offer the lineup a little raise in costs. On the other hand, boosting the prices of the base iPhones would put off many customers, and Apple has a higher chance of monetizing other Apple services for which the iPhone acts as a vehicle. The corporation could decide on a price hike for the Pro version solely, citing the upgrades in tech that the Pro models normally carry. Beyond the iPhones, Google also offers the Pixel 9 series, which is the closest challenger to the iPhone ever. If the iPhone 16 series doesn't look intriguing to you, you may take a look at the Pixel 9 as an iPhone 16 competitor, the Pixel 9 Pro as an iPhone 16 Pro competitor, and the Pixel 9 Pro XL as an iPhone 16 Pro Max competitor. If you desire a greater ecosystem pull, the Galaxy S24 series is also an excellent recommendation. The Galaxy S24 Ultra serves as an ultra flagship that competes strongly against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, while the Galaxy S24 Plus and Galaxy S24 compete well against cheaper devices. So tell us what you think about this update in the comment section. Then I will see you in the next one. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.